All right, folks, we are back. It is Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday, y'all. That's right. It's Wednesday. This is Lonzo, the Godfather of the West Coast. From the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks. From Eve after dark to concerts in the park. You're live with your boy Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. We do this every Tuesday, but sometimes we do it on Wednesday, folks. Sometimes things change. You're live with Lonzo and Dusty Vision.
Oh, yeah. What up, Lonz?
Man, if I start complaining, I sound ungrateful.
You've been doing a lot of political stuff, huh?
Man, yeah, I'm doing a lot of political interviews. I booked 5 of them today alone, man. Election is Tuesday, March the 5th. Tuesday, March the 5th. And like always, as soon as I get on the show, my phone started ringing. I'm trying to get folks to understand the power of voting, okay? Now, we're in the presidential election, and people make a big difference. They think it's the same thing. Unfortunately, we still have the electoral college in the presidential election. But when it comes to local elections, senators, judges, city council people, all that is 1 for 1. Ain't no electoral college that gotta, declare something. No. You can win by 1 vote. You can win by 2 votes. It ain't like playing basketball. You gotta win by 2 points. Nah. So when you tell somebody you're not gonna vote because it don't count, what happens is you not only don't give your vote, but you give the other side an extra vote.
The vote that There's that call I was talking about, Lonzo. Give me 30 seconds, man.
There's
that call I was talking about.
I'll do this, finish doing this show. So
do your thing.
As a civic-minded person, a person who understands the power of the vote, I work with a lot of politicians and I push campaigns. I'm not pushing any one particular campaign. I just want you to see what's available. Because for the first time in my life as a grown man, I'm looking at how we only got 2 people. We ain't had no debates. We ain't had nothing in the presidential election. We got 2 people already. And that's never happened before in my lifetime. But it is very important that you do vote in your local elections, your mayors, your city council, the judges, the countywide and statewide elections, because all those elections are won or lost by a handful of votes. I'm very active in the politics of Compton, and although Compton has 100,000 people, maybe about 10,000 vote, if that many. So a few votes can sway an election one way or another. A block club, a motorcycle club, a gang can I shouldn't even said that, can change the whole dynamic of an election depending on how they want to vote. So don't let nobody tell you your vote don't count, because it does, especially locally. So always remember, your vote is wherever you are, whether you're in Sacramento, Compton, LA, Pomona, don't make no difference, folks. Don't let nobody, oh man, your vote don't count. That's because they're going to run out there and vote and end up getting double the double of mileage for you not voting. So they vote and you don't. So guess what? That means they up 1 on you. So, but if you do vote and you don't like it, y'all go against each other, y'all pretty much cancel each other out. Understand that part. 1 vote on one side, 1 vote on another, it cancels it out. So it keeps on going. And when people stop voting, that's when the other side starts winning. So understand it, folks, and understand this. If a vote wasn't valuable, do you think people would be trying to steal it from you? They're always trying to steal it from you. Whether they what they call gerrymandering your district to make sure that folks, that another side get more votes because they got more of a certain type of people over here. It's really tricky, especially when it comes to state elections and Senate elections and federal elections. They always manipulating the borderlines to increase the possibility of one candidate winning over another. But I'm gonna stop my civic speech. Dusty is back. Let's get to it, Doc.
I love that, because there was something that I wanted to talk with you about, and we might as well get it out of the way because it is along the lines of what you were just discussing right now. But I was just going down a rabbit hole, Lonzo, and I came across this article, and I would love your take on it. LA County District Attorney Gascon is facing backlash. The rise of street takeovers and street racing is through the roof, higher than it's ever been. Deaths caused by street racing and takeovers are higher than they've ever been. Gascon has come out and said that he is not interested in prosecuting most of these cases. Instead, he wants to offer them a special class in driving school for safe driving. As someone who unfortunately has lost someone close to you due to another idiot street racing, you yourself were severely injured in that accident that killed your passenger. What are your thoughts on this recent take of Gascon sending them to driving class instead of locking their asses up?
You know, Gascon is getting pressure on both sides. For so long, people were going to jail, losing their apartments, their jobs, their cars, their families, because they were wrongfully convicted or being arrested, and then they just discharged the case. Okay, DA reject. Okay, and I understand that was one way of that was a bad situation because everybody don't have $1,000, $5,000 just sitting around or a house to put up a bond. You get accused of something, and it's like you get kidnapped until you got some money to pay the ransom. That's what it boiled down to. Okay, so now they canceled that program and they come up with this soft glove program where no matter what you do, almost, if it ain't a felony, you pretty much get a ticket and get to go home. I was at a meeting recently and one of the officers told me that if somebody was in a stolen car, they would get a ticket and had to come to court. Now, here we are in 2024, and it seems like everything, because the cost of living is going up so much, it seems like, I could be wrong, that even the cost of doing law enforcement is gotten too expensive. They looking at the cost of doing this, as far as arresting people, the manpower, the jail, the transportation, the whole 9 yards. They're looking at all this as being too expensive because you got so many people involved in a street takeover. Not just the idiots doing the circle jerk, but you got all the people that's watching. Okay. All those people, somebody got to round them up, write them a ticket. It takes hours. I don't know how much a cop makes an hour, maybe $45 an hour or something like that. But it takes that much time to write them tickets. So they're looking at the cost, and because it's not a real high damage situation, it's almost like graffiti. You're damaging personal property, but it doesn't really affect a lot of people to a certain degree. It may affect people coming down that street, people in that area, but it's not a big situation in some areas. But it is a major nuisance. It's a major nuisance. It's a major nuisance. And my resolution for that is, man, don't just give them a ticket. Give them an ankle bracelet. Give them an ankle bracelet. Give them something that's going to make them come back to court. Let them go back. Let them keep their job. Let them go back and do their families. But you get an ankle bracelet, bro. You get an ankle bracelet. You get something, some type of tracking device to make sure that we can find you when it comes time for court. Because even at one time, I had a warrant, and I hate looking over my shoulder. I walked into jail to turn myself in. I think I would turn myself in on Friday. I'll be out on Monday. They wouldn't arrest me. They would not take me in. They would not take me in, dude. They said it was a bench warrant. It was less than $5,000. They said if you get picked up, it'll just, that's when they'll deal with it. Other than that, they wouldn't deal with it. They would not take me into jail. They would not take me into jail. I hate looking over my shoulder. I just hate that feeling because when the cop pull you over, you're all dressed up, ready to go someplace. All of a sudden, you end up in jail. So I called myself gonna be slick. I wasn't doing nothing. We were gonna sit my ass down for the weekend, get this off my head. Wouldn't do it. So now what we're seeing is the same thing magnified. Street takeovers, mini bikes. I mean, when this weekend, this latest issue of the Hub City Reporter, I did an article on mini bikes. Now I'm a mini bike enthusiast as a kid. I love mini bikes, go-karts, all that stuff, quads. But to see them flying down the street in gangs of 50, 60 cats doing wheelies, no helmets, no brake lights, no tail lights, doing all kinds of tricks or whatever the case may be, and nobody ain't gonna say nothing. You giving a license to havoc. I mean, come on, man. That's just straight dude, they loud, they're dangerous. These guys are swerving out of traffic. Somebody got on somebody has on a camera, one of those action cameras. So they filming everything. They, if not that, somebody got a phone, and they doing it for the gram. Meanwhile, everybody else is in danger because these idiots don't have the sense or the wherewithal to do this off of a busy street. I see them going down El Segundo, Avalon, and I wrote a story about it. And it's not fair to the citizens who actually buy their tags, bikers who wear helmets, who have license plates, who have the proper gear, who are not doing what it is. So you give me the same, giving I can't call them criminals, but the infractionists, the same freedoms that a person that is as abiding by the law. So what's my incentive to be a square? What's my incentive to be a square if everybody gets to do what they want to do? And I think Gascon brought that. He brought that philosophy from San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. And he raised the felony limit. The felony used to be $500. He raised it to 1,000. Now everybody wants it in the stores, and 1,000 guards don't do nothing. You just got straight chaos in the stores. And when you just look at streets of cities like Oakland, although Gascon is not a part of Oakland, Oakland has closed their Denny's, they closed their In-N-Out burgers, they closing everything because folks just are so disrespectful and broke in some cases. They just do any and everything, and it's too much risk for the business owners of the business. And it's just with that combined with all
OG Steve, love you, bro.
What do you do? I'm not looking at the chat right now.
Oh, you just shot us 12 bones. Good looking out, man.
What's up, Steve? Good looking out, Doc. Always. So yeah, folks, when you sit up and you look at these situations, and yes, and this is typical law enforcement. 1 minute they're coming down with the iron glove. They killing flies with sledgehammers. Next minute they tickling murders. It don't make that there's never any real balance, man. Like I said, if somebody put an ankle bracelet or took your car and made you come down to get your car that night, and you can't, they just hold it. You can't get it. This is the deal. When you come down to get your car, you get this ankle bracelet, or you get whatever situation they come up with to make you report to court. And if you don't do what you have to do, now everything gets escalated. I thought today, something I've been thinking about for a long time, being initiated in New York. New York got a terrible problem of people parking in the bike lane. New York traffic is horrible. Man, dude, make the 405 look like the Indianapolis 500, okay? Well, I think the ticket for parking in the bike lane is like $300. They are not. OG Steve hit us again. Much love, Doc. Appreciate you.
Damn, dog. Thank you, homie.
He must have got his income tax. Much love to you, Steve.
Bada boom, bada bing, he said. Good looking out.
I ain't mad. They started paying a reward to anybody that videotapes or takes a picture of a license plate of a car that's parked in the bike lane, and the person take that picture gets a reward of like $85.
We should do that with street takeovers.
Dude, I'm telling you, I've been saying this forever. But in California, right now, I brought this to the sheriff's department. I brought it to the LAPD, and currently, what they say is, if a sheriff does not personally witness a misdemeanor, they can't respond to it.
Yeah, we talked about that. That's right.
So look, it's an easy fix. It's an easy fix. Just like you have people that are driving Uber, driving Lyft, driving cab, give them a license to do it. Make them, deputize them. It ain't got to put nothing on their car. They ain't got to put no stickers or nothing. All you got to do is be places. It's like a spy almost. Just be places where shit is going down and report it. And because you reported it on a certain kind of phone, it's going to be, it's going to have all the metadata, whatever the case may be. And you ain't got to go to court or nothing. And just turn it in and get your money. It's a moneymaker for the city, for the state, for everybody. And again, the citizens will be able to play a role in getting the streets cleaned up, especially in Compton, when you talk about not just street takeovers, but dumping. Everybody, this mama got a camera somewhere around their house. I got Ring cameras. I got cameras. If you see something going down, just send the footage in and go, hey man, we caught you. The neighbor caught you doing so and so, and here is the footage. Give me it. I don't want to hear it. That's you right there. Your truck, your license plate, dumping trash on Alameda. Give us our money, okay? And just the thought of that happening, that's not entrapment. It's only entrapment when you tell people that you encourage them to go do it. Sorry, no. If you out breaking the law at your own on your own accord, that ain't entrapment. Entrapment is when I try and entice you to break the law. That's totally different. That's totally different. All I'm doing is recording you doing something you was gonna do whether I had a phone out or not. That's not entrapment. So anyway, yeah, these are some of the ways that you can clean up the city, clean up the streets, and make things a little bit better, man. Shit. And people and folks make a few dollars in the meantime.
Yep. I love that idea, Lonzo. Now, this is kind of random, but it is along the lines of what we're talking about with motorbikes and stuff like that. But what do you think of those electric scooters that everyone be riding around and those bikes that everyone rides around in? Because I could count I go out on LA on a Saturday, I count like 5 drunk motherfuckers just hopping on them and no helmet, like you said. You know what scooters I'm talking about, where you can rent them for a little while, drop them off wherever, side of the freeway, wherever.
The lift, man, I think, wait, you said something. I swear I saw this myself. A fool was on the 105 freeway on one of them scooters.
Jesus Christ.
On one of them scooters, okay? I'm not bullshitting. On the 105 freeway, cruising, and on one of them goddamn scooters, he was in the emergency lane, okay? Getting it in, just rolling, okay? So here you are, when you see shit like that, what are you supposed to do, man? You supposed to let this fool get killed? Because the laws are so lax, people. And here again, it's like the Wild Wild West. Things that got so lax, it's become the Wild Wild West when it comes to vehicles. Those little scooters, I know you're talking about, and those things they get up like 15, 20 miles an hour, which don't sound like a lot, but when you about 3 inches off the ground, you hauling ass, man. I tell you what you do: take off running and trip and fall and see what happens. The average human being can only run about 20 miles an hour, 15 to 20 miles an hour if you good, okay? Let's run and trip going at full speed and see how your body reacts, how your knees, your elbows react to all that falling. So if you're on a scooter and somebody pull out in front of you, you're gonna tear their asses up, okay? You don't have no helmet, you're susceptible to brain injury. Man, it's, again, it just seems like because when there's no law, there's no type of regulation, no kind of accountability, you get the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, man. Well, let's jump into some BS, Lonzo. Probably aware of the recent Diddy allegations. If not, I'm going to go ahead and drop it on everyone in the chat as well. But Diddy is another lawsuit. Today has been brought out against Diddy by one of his former employees, Rodney Jones. He goes by AKA Lil Rob Hitman. Now, apparently, according to Lil Rob, there are a lot of people involved in this. Now, the artists' names that were mentioned in Rob's lawsuit have been, I think they call it retracted or reenacted, whatever.
Redacted.
There you go. Thank you. But it's a little easy to decipher. Some of the we'll play a little game and see if anyone could figure this out. But one of the names that was retracted, whatever you're gonna, I'm not even gonna try to say it again. There you go. Was a rapper from Philly who dated Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
It's a little easy one for the hip hop. Any hip hop heads know I knew off top. I'm not even gonna sit around and wait for people to guess, but it is Meek Mill by everyone's accounts. And the second artist whose name was taken out of the lawsuit as well, but he's part of it, is an R&B singer who just performed at the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Oh my God. I wonder who, Usher, of course. So Usher, Chris Brown's name. There was another one where it was alluding to Chris Brown. Cuba Gooding Jr. is another one. But Rod Jones was allegedly, forced to drink alcoholic beverages filled with drugs and watch Diddy shower, and he was touched in things by Diddy, and this is all alleged, but what do you think about the recent stuff against Diddy, man? It's just getting worse and worse for him.
That's one thing about money and power. It gives you the illusion of superiority over people. And because you can give somebody something that they may think they want right now, and then take more than what they asked for or what they bargained for, but because now I gave you something and you gave me something, but if you tell anybody what you gave me, I got this little videotape of you doing what you do. And allegedly, his whole concept was based around, all right, yeah, I did it to you, but if you tell anybody, I'm gonna show this video. Okay. Well, fool, you in the video. You in the video too. Ain't that you going up me? God damn, come on, man. I mean, but again, because no man wants to be a suspect, put it that way. Even if he is, nobody, especially in hip hop, being a hip hop suspect could definitely affect your career in a lot of in some negative ways, especially you playing the hardball role. You playing hard, all of a sudden somebody find out you live in a whole other lifestyle. That's not gonna work out good for you at all. That's your problem right there. But again, this dude, it looks like he was R. Kelly on steroids. I mean,
dude, they're comparing him to Jeffrey Epstein, Lonzo.
Yeah. I saw the video. I saw one of the videos before the show started, and one guy said he read the whole 100 and some odd page, whatever it is, complaint, and he's definitely on some Jeffrey Epstein shit for real, which is not a good place because they got room for you. They got room for people like that. They got room for you, okay? And these cases, this is real. These are some serious offenses, man. But again, you got a lot of heavy people that are in the mix, dude. This ain't no one-off situation. And guys like that don't go down by themselves. That was one of the fears that
they're gonna need no Brown. If I'm going down, I'm taking you all with me.
Yeah, that was one of the fears that some of the Epstein people may have had. Hey, man, no. He gets to talking, it's a whole bunch of folks, a whole bunch of situations are going to go down. Let's put him to sleep. Allegedly. Okay.
Man, that's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. And if he did do this, he deserves whatever comes to him. But there are a lot of people who are saying that he's being attacked because he's a powerful, black man. What do you think about that?
There's always going to be somebody that's going to pull the race card. And a lot of people, sound like a lot of people that allegedly have been hurt by this dude under the heading of trying to get in the record business. And I've never had an issue like that myself, but I know people, especially women, who've had to jump through hoops, play games, slept with people, other things with people just to try and get in the door with the manager, not even somebody that can sign you, just to get somebody that would take your phone call, take your demo to an office. People have been playing this, the casting couch been around for decades. And Diddy had opportunities like his television show, Make It the Band, and other shows, other situations that put him in a high profile situation, and anybody attached to him could be on a whole high profile situation. So some people, their morals may be in question if certain situations arise. And that's, hey man, that's just part of the game. What can I tell you?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Before we move on, I'm going to remind everybody to hit that like button if you haven't already, and please hit that subscribe button if this is your first time tuned in. We're going to get into a little bit of hip hop. I want to do this bit, Lonzo, continue this bit that we started a couple of weeks ago, where I'm going to give you a famous hip hop line, and I just want you to dissect it and give me your point of view on that specific bar. And tonight we're going to do 2 lines. That sounded bad. That would have meant something different in the 80s. We're going to do 2 lines. Tonight we are going to do 2 lines from one of our favorite artists, one of the greatest MCs to ever touch a microphone, and someone that is very close to you, Ice Cube. Now, the first one, Lonzo, is a bar that from a song that we've discussed several times on this platform, but today I want to dissect it, and I want to talk a little bit about it and break the lyrics down. Here the line goes, Lonzo. F the police coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it bad because I'm brown, and not the other color, so police think they have the authority to kill a minority. Break that line down for me, Lonzo.
Being a black man from Compton and surrounding areas, that was the attitude growing up, man, for years. That what you said to the police didn't mean nothing. The badge and the authority gave him pretty much the badge, and the badge in his job pretty much gave him the authority to do and say anything he wanted to do to you. You know, things have always been rough between blacks and the police, especially young blacks. I mean, the younger you are, it's like they trying to, sometimes it seems like they try to indoctrinate you with the fear of the police. So as you get older, you always have that fear. And I didn't get a lot of interaction with the police till I got about 16, 17 when I started driving. And for them to take my car, literally take everything out my trunk, take my air filter off. I mean, everything out the back seat, anything I had in my car was on the ground. Meanwhile, while they're doing this, you got to put your hand in a hot ass car in 90-degree weather because it's already hot outside and their car will never get cut off, and just be subjected to all type of embarrassing shit, man. And during the crack era, they would make you lift your balls up, pull your pants down, lift your nuts up so they can see if you got weed, crack under your nuts. Oh, it was horrible, dude. That was some embarrassing shit. So, you know, for a long time, I was on the F the police move myself, dude. I'm not lying. I do. I for a long time.
I think we all went through that period. I think we all probably did as black men, right?
I went through the F the police phase of my life until I became a homeowner.
Right here, baby. Now I have them motherfuckers on speed dial. Now, hey, it's me again, guys.
Until I became a homeowner. Okay. And you realize sometimes, damn, I hate to say this, sometimes there's some necessary evils that you need in certain situations. And they can be a necessary evil, dude. You know, just the fact that you have the ability to call somebody that may show up and make somebody else, deter them from doing some dumb stuff, is a powerful situation within itself. But then the dumb stuff that this person may be doing is not a death sentence. It don't warrant a death sentence. And that's when you start double thinking or rethinking your position. Do I really want to call the cops? I remember one time we had a family issue, man, and I wanted to call the cops because this person was going through some things, and I couldn't call them because I didn't want this person dead. I just want them to leave me alone. But again, when you open up certain doors to Pandora's box, you don't know what you might get. And so we chose to deal with it from a family issue as opposed to a legal issue.
Damn. You know, I would love to get your opinion on this before we jump into the next line. 1968, and shout out to 1968. And I appreciate people who, you know, have different point of views. We appreciate people who have different point of views. It's kind of boring to hang around with a bunch of people that agree with you, in my opinion. But 1968 says, have you really ever listened to Eazy-E's music? It was all negative. What would you say to that, Lonzo?
You know what? A lot of his music was funny. If you listen to Eazy, had a crazy sense of humor. He told stories he told gangster stories about going into court with the submachine Uzi and blah, blah, blah. Was it negative? It could be. It was different for its time. He was somebody who didn't do a lot of what they said. They just told stories about doing. Look, first of all, ain't nobody in that whole situation no hardcore gangbanger. Let's get that straight. They made up a lot of stories that sound good at that time. They were never supposed to go gold, platinum, radio, none of that. That was never the intention. It happened though, and now that it happened, everybody wants to go back and reevaluate it. It was something that everybody was. It was shock value. It was Howard Stern with khakis and Levi's and Raider gear on. Okay, it was shock value, dude. It was shock value. There was no reality to most of the stuff. There was no reality to Dolomite, Blowfire, none of that shit. Okay, it was just something nobody ever done before. Now everybody does it. Everybody does it. It's become the norm. It was never supposed to be the norm, man. It was just something that people did. Oh, damn! Wow, you hear that shit? And it worked for them. You know, those guys wasn't crackheads. Easy sold a little dope back in the day, but he obviously it wasn't meant for him to do. He got out of that shit as soon as he possibly could. Nobody else sold no dope. Nobody else did none of that shit. No, they were not gangbangers, dude. They told y'all one thing. They were characters that sold y'all the characters, and y'all bought them hook, line, and sinker, along with some stories that somebody else may have lived, but that was not the case. So it's real hard. I think about that sometimes. I laugh. You know, I told y'all they were bullshitting, but y'all didn't take me. Y'all didn't believe me.
Yeah, man, dude. Yeah, thank you for saying that. And once again, we appreciate all opinions, even if because I don't agree with that. I'm sure 1968, you've listened to some trashy stuff back in your day, and it's just
Come on, man.
Like you said, Dolomite, all the pimp. Look, I know if you were born in 1968 or around 1968, you probably was watching some shit like what was the blaxploitation movies y'all was watching back in the day, Lonzo?
Super niggas, there was super niggas everywhere. Come on, man. You know, it had an impact to a certain degree because it was funny. A lot of that shit was corny. I can't watch it now. Okay, I can't watch it now. I tried to just for that. I'm gonna watch some black exploitation movies. You know, Fred Williamson and Pam Grier, and back then that shit was the shit. Okay, you weren't sophisticated. You didn't know no better. All you knew was you saw some black people on television or in the movie theater, and he was a big black buck with a perfect natural, with a perfect sideburns, kicking ass. That's all you knew. That's all you had. That's all you had. But as movies got better, you had different characters, and you started gravitating toward different types of things. That's all people have grown up. That's all. That's it. I like Pam Grier because Pam Grier would take off her bra if somebody spoke to her ass. With them big old pretty titties. Come on, man. Come on. She wasn't the best actress. She never won no Grammy Awards. She could have won a fucking titty award, though, because what? Every fight, they coming out, dude. Titties wasn't everywhere like they are today. That was a good thing, okay? You 16 years old, Pam Grier's fine ass. Pam Grier might be about a few years older than I am. And so if I'm 15, 16, she might be 25 or something like that, dude. And you see a grown woman's chest, breast, come on, man. Come on, I don't care what she was saying. I wouldn't pay no attention no way.
Turn the volume all the way down, as a matter of fact.
I don't know what her lines were. I have no idea, okay? I had no idea what her lines were. I couldn't give you one Pam Grier line if you beat my ass. I can tell you what the titties look like, though.
That's hilarious, dog. All right, let's continue with one more line from Ice Cube, one of the greatest of all time. This is from Death Certificate from his 1991 album, and the song is called Us. And here is a line that I've always thought was interesting, and it goes like this. And all y'all dope dealers, you're as bad as the police because you kill us. You got rich when you started slanging dope, but you ain't built us a supermarket. We can't spend our money with the blacks, too busy buying gold and Cadillacs. That's what you're doing with your money that you're raising, exploiting us like the Caucasians. Woo, Ice Cube was killing it with the bars back in the day, by the way. But what do you think about that, Lon?
Ice Cube has always been somewhat of a gangster political rapper. I mean, he told the truth. Look, check this out, man. Check this out. When you look at cities around Black community, Paramount, Cudahy, I don't know, El Monte, Downey, all that money, I ain't gonna say all, I can't, allegedly, all that money came from other sources, man. And I was told by a buddy of mine who was high ranking in the Mexican organization that they stopped doing business with blacks for a while because they did dumb shit with the money. They didn't do nothing with the money. They just dressed it up and wait for the fans to bust their ass. They started reinvesting in their own community. They started doing their own thing, dude. They legitimized their money. They got more banks. They got more grocery stores. They did the same thing we did. They came in after us, and they still found ways to make their community better. They still may have situations going on, but for the most part, it looks good. I do. I can't say what I know on this podcast, but I remember I'm at a store down on Pico, and you could tell by the way the back room was set up. It was a lot of money spent on this place. And a few months later, after I went down there and hung out, the feds raided it. They didn't mess with us while we was down there. But I looked up like, damn, I was just down there about 3-4 weeks ago. Well, it was a spot. Okay, they had bought the property, put their business in the front, and they had a nice little something in the back. And because somebody got busted, things came. The whole house of cards came down. But that became the new business model for the brothers in the streets. And especially for some groups, but some of us never got that. I remember some of the fellas bought a couple of motels. The motels was big back in the day, but they ended up being either sold or got caught up, whatever the case. Hey man, when you've been around as long as I have and seen as much as I have, you realize that we have blown a lot of opportunities, especially when we had the money. And a lot of it was our own self-destruction that we just couldn't stand to see somebody else have something. And that's just cold. That's cold hard fact, man. Got a guy get too much, gotta take him out. Or you kept playing the same game that you can't do the same thing that got you there. You got to change your game at some point in time. The streets are always calling. That's the problem.
Yeah, man. Dropping that knowledge. Now, I was watching a movie that I really enjoy watching. I watch it maybe once every few years, but it's Cadillac Records. And if anyone has not watched Cadillac Records, I would highly suggest it. It's a great movie about the beginnings of blues and rock and roll, especially, how we created it and it was stolen from us, for lack of better words. But there's a scene in Cadillac Records that always is very powerful to me, and I would love to discuss it with you. Now, anyone who doesn't know the movie, whenever you join the record label, they gave you a Cadillac. That was, hey, here's your Cadillac, big old shiny Cadillac. And to a lot of people, that's like, oh my God, that's awesome. Well, there's a scene in the movie where Howlin' Wolf, one of the legends of blues, pulls up in a crappy truck. And throughout the movie, he denies money from the label. He says things like, I don't want to borrow money against the store, things like that. And at the end of the movie, he was the one that seemed to have, the money while everyone else was broke, unfortunately. But what are your thoughts on that, Lonzo? Just in general in the music business, of people who are quick to take the shiny object, maybe give up their ownership and things like that, just for that quick buck.
When you never had nothing and somebody offer you something, you always think it's somebody doing you a favor. But you don't know what that something is going to cost in the long run. And you're talking about people who are sharecroppers from down south Mississippi. I mean, Muddy Waters started off. You see, he's in a field. His first record was recorded in the trunk of a car, guitar, no amplifier, just singing to a phonograph in the trunk of a car. And these people weren't educated, and the people who was doing business with them knew they weren't educated. They knew they weren't educated, and they knew putting that X on that contract was going to solidify to any judge that I said what I said. This is what he told me. He agreed to me not paying him no money. But again, here we are in 2024. We had the same issue right now. people will sign the first thing you put in front of them if enough zeros is in front is somewhere on their contract. Cadillac Records was probably near and dear to me because I know people that was in that Cadillac Records. My first manager, his daughter, I'm sorry, my first manager was a daughter of the bass player Willie Dixon.
Okay? Oh shit! Oh, that's a legend.
My first manager was the daughter of Willie Dixon. Her name was Shirley. I talk about her in my book. Wasn't a good relationship, but it's over with. Etta James was my neighbor. I wouldn't know about this house if Etta James hadn't told me about it. The house I live in right now, Etta James called me and told me, "Lonzo, you need to buy that. You need to buy Johnny Otis' house," and I did. Because she was a friend of my dad's. My brother worked for her, and I was cool with her as well. But she heard I got my CBS deal, and she called me and told me, "You need to go buy that house. I got a studio and everything." That's one of the best things I've ever done. In fact, in the movie Cadillac Records, at the end after Homeboy died, she was on the floor crying because Muddy Waters brought her a deed to a house, and the house that he brought her the deed to is right around the corner from my house.
Oh yeah. You did tell me that. You did. Okay, I know that. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
I'm looking at it. I look out my window. I look at it every day.
Crazy.
I look at it every day. Okay, her sons verified that. Okay, they eventually sold it, but nonetheless, that was the deal. So that movie right there had a big. I felt that one. I felt that one more than I did almost as much as I did Straight Outta Compton. When you were in the Makola era, the 80s, the 90s, and the music era, and you still hear people, "Oh man, they screwed us." No, man, they didn't screw you. You played yourself, dude. You walked in there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed with a pen in your hand and signed the first thing them folks gave to you. Now, the same thing happened in a very popular group that I know of called NWA. In NWA, Ice Cube was Muddy Waters. Think about it. Ice Cube was Muddy Waters. No, I'm sorry. Ice Cube was Howlin' Wolf. I'm sorry. Ice Cube was Howlin' Wolf.
I was gonna say, there you go.
Same thing. Same exact thing. Everybody else was getting the money. I mean, I got babies. I got this. I got to get some money. Blah blah blah. Ice Cube was like, "No, I need a lawyer to read my contract." No. And unlike Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, he left. Howlin' Wolf stayed, but nonetheless, he had the wherewithal to seek legal counsel before he put his name on something. And if he didn't get what he needed, he moved on. And he fought for what he believed in, and it worked for him. Okay, it is what it is, Doc. And these are the kind of things that, like I was telling somebody yesterday, I spoke at USC. I do that about sometimes twice a year. They have a hip hop class at USC, a straight up hip hop class, and they call me out and they have me speak once or twice a year. And I tell people all the time, I say, it's one thing to hear the story. It's another thing to live the story. And when you live stories like Ice Cube and Etta James, and you actually are part of the fabric of what this thing is about, you see it from a whole different perspective. It's hard for somebody to tell me some different shit because everybody else, for the most part, secondhand knowledge. My shit is OG, nigga. The shit came through my pupils, into my brain, through my ears, into my brain, direct. So I'm not going on some hearsay she say. So when you see shit like Muddy Water, Howlin' Wolf turned down the contract and want to be his own man, you can easily see the comparison between Ice Cube and everybody else in NWA. You can see that. And nothing changed. It's just that the date changed. Instead of being blues, it was rock, it was rap. It was the same game was about to get ran on him. And I don't know nobody getting no publishing check from Ruthless. I don't know. I know they get something from time to time, but I don't know if Ruthless's situation is as lucrative as a Cadillac Records. I don't know. So it's the game that people have been taking advantage of the young, dumb, and stupid for decades. And that's why so many record companies don't have a lot of older artists. Man, think about that. when you're, it's like this guy going to the military. They don't want a grown ass man in the military. You can evolve to a grown ass man, but you got to come in young so I can indoctrinate your ass with my shit. You can't mold hardened concrete. You 40 years old, 35 years old, a private, and you see them shooting and bombing over there. They tell you run over there and take that hill. Man, fuck you. I'm not doing shit.
Hell no, sorry, sir.
No, sorry, sir. But when you a youngster and they pump all that, pump those different, hey man, you simplify, blah, blah, blah. And, you'll do things to prove yourself that when you're older, when you're older, you might not, you might double think that. My man, retired senior, said they had a 30-year-old in boot camp. Now, that's rare. That's rare.
That's definitely rare.
That's rare. But again, so the age limit is 32. Okay. So yeah, they know by the time you get 33, 34 years old, you ain't, wait, hold on, man. You can't talk to me like that. No, you can't just get out of my face. Get out of my face. I don't want to hear that shit tonight. I'm going to bed, man. So all that right there is a factor, not only in the military, but in the music business. When you're in the music business, when you're in the music business, you are allowed into something that you only dreamed about. You didn't think that was going to happen. You were hoping it happened. But when you start to get behind the curtain and see all the glamour and all the glitz, and that you get blinded initially, then they pull off the goddamn sheet and you see what the real world is like. Oh my God, this shit can be horrible. Not everything is horrible. But you got so many egotistical, powerful people till you get Puffies, you get R. Kelly's, you get all kind of shit. And this is new shit. I don't know what they would do back in the day, but I'm quite sure it was just as bad as it was back then. And the question is, how bad do you want it? What you want to do to get it? I got it. What you want to do for it? I got it. I got what you want. I got a record deal. I got whatever. What you want to do for it? You can sing. I got 100 people that can sing. You cute. I got 200 that's cute that can sing. What you gonna do that they ain't gonna do? And that becomes the scenario. And hey man, that's what you're working with.
Yeah, I love these conversations about the music biz, Lonzo. Let's take it back to yourself. Speaking of contracts and things like that, kind of comparing it to Cadillac Records, but being that you were the one chopping down the trees and things like that, there wasn't many people, I'm sure. There weren't many people, I'm sure, who you could just go to and say, hey, can you help me out with this hip hop contract? Or, hey, do you know about how to put on a hip hop club? Or, whatever. When, or I guess I should say, who were some of the people that you maybe confided in, or how did you handle that business aspect of everything? Because you had the talent, but how did you handle the business back then?
Everything I learned initially, I had to grab and convert. Jeffy taught me the club business, but I had to take what he learned in the 60s, and the 60s and 70s, and convert it to the 80s and do it with kids. I mean, he talked about security, his thing was keep your dick out the cash register. Couldn't do that. I was fucking the cashier. That was one of the things I did not listen to. But it just became a bunch of conversions, man. Dudos taught me how to. Old man Dudos talked about distribution. That was one of the people. But I also learned distribution from working at Record Shack. And I learned another level of distribution from old man Dudos, and you had to just kind of you had to feel your way through, man. It's like the blind, you're blind. Somebody gave you a map, but all the landmarks ain't there. You got to figure out which one to take you over here. But again, because I was educated differently, I was taught critical thinking. I know how to think. I know how to figure things out for myself. So and then you always have that one ingredient that if you allow it to manifest in your decisions, most cases you'll come out right. Even if you come out wrong, you'll feel better about the decision. And that's just simple common sense. That's just simple common sense. If you apply simple common sense if you have that. And again, some people say common sense ain't that common, but if you have some way to apply some type of knowledge that that you feel comfortable with, yeah, you may make a bad decision from time to time, but at least you can look at yourself in the mirror. Sometimes people will sacrifice being able to look themselves in the mirror for some money. I ain't gonna do that.
Let me ask you, Lonzo. Going back to records back in the day, mainly singles. You had an A side, you had a B side. The A side was what you thought, or what the label thought was going to be the hit, or what has already proven to be the hit, maybe from the streets or whatever the case may be. Flip it over, it's the B side. What goes into creating a song for the B side and actually putting that song on the B side, which would probably be the second most, I don't know. What goes into the B side record?
Not necessarily, man. It all depends on the artist and the record company. If you're a small label, you may put another good song on the B side, and hopefully you get lucky and have a record that will push it, that will have some longevity, because somebody will buy the one side. Oh, this is a hit too, and to keep it going on the radio. If you got a little bit of money, you may put a throwaway song on the B side because you're going to come up with two or three more singles anyway. Okay, you may put like I say, or sometimes back in the day, James Brown, he would put part two. He would just put part two. Ohio Players, they put part two. If you had a slamming ass song, shit, part two would just be a bunch of instrumentals for 3 minutes. You only have like 3 minutes on a 3.5 minutes on a 7-inch anyway, and that's what I'm thinking in terms of 7-inch. Now, when you talk about doing 12-inch, usually all we would do, we would save it because we want them grooves to be thicker for the speakers. So we would just put an instrumental on the flip side. We very seldom put any of the songs on a 12-inch.
So the bigger the grooves, the louder it sounded in the speaker.
Better it sounds in the speaker. When you have a vinyl record, you have 22 minutes of sound on that vinyl record from the first time the needle drops to the label is 22 minutes. And when you try to squeeze 4 or 5 songs on that one side, you have to you can't cut the grooves that too deep because you have to make room. You don't want your records, the grooves to be too deep because you don't want your record to jump over to the next track. It's like cutting the ditch. You cut the trench, and they put it on what they call a lathe. It's a real lathe, and it goes around there. It's the tape recorder or the DAT is playing, and the vibration from that DAT is cutting the grooves into that record. Okay. But when you have a 12-inch, you got 22 minutes, and you got a bigger space between the grooves. You can turn that lathe up a little bit deeper, let it cut a little bit deeper, which means your bass and your bass is going to resonate a whole lot more. That's why 12 inches were a lot more popular. Any DJ that's ever played vinyl will tell you that the 12-inch is a lot fatter than the album cut. Play the same song, it's gonna sound good, but on the album it's gonna sound fat, especially in the club. And that's why 12 inches became more popular in the club, because the grooves were cut a lot fatter, and you can get the punch you want that you couldn't get from the album.
That's that nerd shit I like. Sorry, I got into nerd territory with that, but I love that stuff, Lonzo. We got a question from Mark Chavez. This is a good one. He says, Lonzo, when you first put out Slice, how many other West Coast labels were out at the time? Did you get any advice or see what other labels were helping new artists with?
Only label was around at that time was Freak Beat from Uncle Jam's Army. Duffy had his label, and Cletus had his label. But as far as hip hop labels, that was only us. It was and even Freak Beat. Yes, I think their first song was Yes, Yes, Yes or Dollar Freak. It wasn't really a hip hop song. It was more of an R&B song that we did. Or it was a Yes, Yes, Yes was a saying they said at Uncle Jam's Army party. Yes, 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 yes. It didn't have no lyrics. That's all they said. Yes, yes, yes. It was the dumbest shit in the world, but it was popular at their events. And we made Slice. We were just taking off a Run DMC. We just snatched some of Run DMC's vibe. Clientele was in the studio. Yellow was there with the drum machine. I paid for the studio time, and we just made some shit happen.
There you go. Now, let's see. Someone says, whatever happened to Shirley Murdoch coming on the show? Who's Shirley Murdoch, Lonzo?
Shirley Murdoch is she's a singer with Zap. She was supposed to come on the show once before, and at the time when she came on, when she got to come on the show, she had a death in the family. Zap stays on tour. I don't even think she tours with them anymore. I could reach out for Lester and find out. I think she had an album coming out. She had a project coming out. I got hooked up with her. She's married to one of the guys in Zap. That I know for sure. And he called me up because we're pretty cool. Hey man, my wife is going through some things. We'll get back with you. I just never got back with him.
You know what? Talk to us about how big Zap was. We got about 5 more minutes. How big was Zap and Roger back in the day?
Zap was bigger now than they are back in the day. When they came out with that shit, More Bounce to the House, dude, that shit would light Eve After Dark up. That shit was, dude, come on, man. And see, there was, and then they came out with 12 inches, okay? Because Zap, that fucking bass is just do. I saw Zap at the YouTube theater last year. Took my son to go see him. Man, that shit made your stomach hurt. The bass just made your stomach hurt, dude. It just, oh my God. They had that shit fat as fuck. I brought Zap to my club, Hollywood Park Casino. Oh my God, man. I got video of that shit. I still got the video from that shit. I video a lot of stuff from Hollywood Park Casino. But that was huge, man. I mean, because they came out with something that nobody ever done before. George Clinton was off the chain, okay? Lakeside was rocking like a son of a gun. But the groove that Roger and Zap laid down in the 80s was unheard of, ain't been touched since then. Cameo was funky, but it just was a different kind of funk. If Zap was socks, there would be some rotten socks. They were so funky. They like rotten socks. Okay, they're just funky for no reason. And it's hard to beat that funk. George got a sophisticated funk. Cameo got a funk, but the funk that comes off of
disrespectful. Just gonna slap your mom in the face type of funk.
It's just, oh my God. Like I said, like rotten socks, man. Come on, dude.
Damn, I love that, man. What do you know about the talk box that he was using? How hard that, tell us about what they used back then. Now you could push a button on a mixer and change your voice. But what went into the talk box?
Talk box. It was a tube. It was called a talk box. It was a tube you stuck in your mouth, and you had to put it right next to the microphone. And somehow or another, it distorted your voice. But it was also a matter of air and some other shit that I never understood. I never had a talk box. I've seen him in action. Battle Cat is probably one of the best guys today, according to him. That Roger taught him how to use the talk box. And I never used a talk box. I used a vocoder. Vocoder gave us a mechanical sound. It was same again. The vocoder gave you the mechanical sound that you got on Juice and some other stuff, but it just wasn't as funky as the talk box. So the talk box was gritty. Like I said, it was just because the keyboards they use like a Moog keyboard, which gave you a gritty ass sound anyway. And combine that with the talk box, shit, man, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, man.
Hard to beat.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Before we head out, I want to ask everyone once again to hit that like button if you haven't already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, you are tuned in to NWA Stories with Lonzo. We have so much content on this channel. Just go down the rabbit hole if you really love West Coast hip hop, because this is the man that was there from the beginning. Any last words, Lonzo?
Like I always say, folks, for those who never heard of me, I'm the first one to put Dr. Dre in the surgery, stuck Ice Cube in the freezer till he got cold on the Eve After Dark 50-yard line Super Bowl. In the movie Straight Outta Compton, they played me like a hater of rap. Don't believe that bullshit because it was all Hollywood cap. My history goes deeper than you will ever know. Just remember, folks, that NWA stands for Not Without Alonzo. Peace.